Overthinking. It's a trap that most of us fall into every single day. You wake up, check your phone, replay conversations from yesterday, worry about meetings, deadlines, relationships, finances, and by the time you realize it, hours have passed, and your mind feels heavier than ever. You think that by analyzing every little detail, by trying to plan for every possible outcome, you'll finally gain control, but in reality, control slips further away. Overthinking doesn't give clarity, it creates doubt, anxiety, and inaction. You start asking yourself, am I making the right decision? What if I fail? What if everything falls apart? And before you know it, small problems start feeling like mountains. But what if there's a different way? A way to stop spiraling, a method to regain control over your thoughts, and finally find calm in the chaos? This isn't just motivational talk, it's rooted in centuries of wisdom from thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, the Stoics. They discovered that most of our suffering doesn't come from external events, but from the way we interpret them. They practiced techniques to question their thoughts, focus on what they could control, and prepare themselves mentally for life's hardships. Today, we can use these same principles, combined with modern psychology and practical exercises, to stop overthinking, make clear decisions, and live intentionally. In this video, we're going to explore exactly how to do that, step by step, thought by thought, so you can reclaim your mind and start living with clarity, purpose, and action. Overthinking is one of the most common mental patterns that silently steals your energy, focus, and productivity. Every day, millions of people replay past conversations, mistakes, or decisions, while simultaneously worrying about future outcomes that may never happen. Overthinking often starts with a desire for certainty. We believe that if we analyze everything carefully, we will finally have control over life. But the truth is, life rarely works that way. Overthinking doesn't solve problems, it magnifies them. Small decisions become monumental challenges, simple mistakes spiral into crises, and minor uncertainties become sources of constant stress. Neuroscience shows that the brain thrives on predictability, but when we feed it endless hypothetical scenarios, it triggers the same fight-or-flight responses as real threats. This is why overthinking creates anxiety and self-doubt. The Stoics recognized this pattern centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius, writing in Meditations, described the danger of letting thoughts run unchecked, noting that most of the suffering humans experience comes not from events themselves, but from their interpretation of them. Modern psychology confirms the same principle. Techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, are built around understanding and interrupting irrational thought loops, exactly what the Stoics practiced intuitively. Overthinking also blocks action. When your mind is preoccupied with what-ifs, you fail to respond effectively to real challenges in front of you. Careers stall, relationships suffer, and opportunities are missed. The key is to develop mental clarity and focus. By learning to distinguish between real problems and imagined fears, you can regain control over your decisions. Recognizing overthinking as a mental habit, not an inevitable reaction, is the first step. From there, you can train yourself to pause, analyze thoughts rationally, and choose deliberate actions, rather than being a prisoner of your own mind. Understanding that history repeats itself is one of the most powerful perspectives for calming an anxious mind. No matter what challenge you face, job loss, heartbreak, financial setbacks, illness, these struggles have occurred countless times before. Marcus Aurelius observed that human fears, doubts, and uncertainties are not unique to any one person or generation. People throughout history have faced plagues, wars, and financial crises. Entrepreneurs have failed, lovers have experienced heartbreak, and societies have recovered from collapse. Recognizing this pattern helps create perspective. Your situation is not an isolated disaster, it is part of the recurring human experience. This mindset reduces the sense of urgency and panic that overthinking often generates. For example, if you lose your job, your mind may spiral into questions about competence, worth, and future stability. But billions of people have faced layoffs before you and have rebuilt successful lives. Similarly, heartbreak, though intensely personal, is a universal experience. People throughout history have faced rejection, loss, and separation, yet they have continued to thrive and find meaningful connections. Even global crises like plagues, which Marcus Aurelius himself lived through, were survived. Understanding the historical context gives us emotional armor. The challenges you face are neither unprecedented nor insurmountable. By seeing life through this lens, you reduce fear, build resilience, and cultivate patience. It also highlights a crucial Stoic principle: external events are beyond your control, but your response is entirely within your power. History becomes a teacher, showing that human endurance, adaptability, and courage are constants across time. By internalizing this perspective, you can approach life's setbacks with calm, clarity, and confidence, knowing that if others have survived similar circumstances, so can you. Your mind is the battlefield where most of life's struggles are won or lost. Overthinking often stems from irrational interpretations of events, catastrophic predictions, exaggerated fears, and negative self-talk that inflates minor setbacks into crises. The Stoics taught that the key to mastery is separating rational thoughts from irrational ones. Marcus Aurelius constantly questioned his perceptions, asking, "Is this true? Is this helpful?" Modern psychology mirrors this approach. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, identifies the same mental patterns and trains individuals to restructure thoughts to reduce anxiety and improve decision-making. Let's take a practical example. You make a mistake at work. An irrational response might be, "I'll never succeed, I'm terrible at my job." This thought leads to panic, stress, and inaction. A rational response, by contrast, would be, "I made a mistake, but everyone does. I can fix it and learn from it." This shift transforms emotional consequences, replacing fear with constructive focus. Techniques like journaling, thought analysis, and the ABC model, activating event belief consequence, help train this skill. By consciously challenging beliefs, you reclaim control over emotional reactions. Over time, your brain learns to pause before spiraling, distinguishing real problems from imagined ones. This practice also strengthens resilience, mental clarity, and decision-making capacity that in a startup context, founders constantly face uncertainties and failures. Those who train their minds to recognize irrational thoughts act faster, adapt, and innovate, while those dominated by overthinking stagnate. The mind, when disciplined, becomes an ally rather than a prison. Rational thinking transforms challenges into opportunities, while irrational overthinking turns even manageable problems into mountains. This is the cornerstone of Stoic wisdom applied to modern life. Life will knock you down, sometimes hard, sometimes unexpectedly. How you respond defines not just your day, but your entire trajectory. The Stoics teach a simple but transformative mindset: focus on what you can control, and act deliberately, rather than surrendering to victimhood. When setbacks occur, a lost job, a failed project, a broken relationship, the natural tendency is to ask, "Why me?" and dwell on unfairness. This victim mindset leads to stagnation, resentment, and anxiety. That in contrast, adopting a warrior mindset means asking, "What now?" and taking action within your power. Marcus Aurelius faced unimaginable pressures as an emperor: wars, plagues, betrayals, and political intrigue. Yet, he never wasted energy on complaints, he focused on solutions. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This philosophy reframes obstacles as opportunities for growth, learning, and innovation. In modern terms, imagine a startup founder who loses funding. A victim might blame investors or market conditions and give up. A warrior analyzes the situation, pivots strategy, seeks new resources, and takes decisive action. Same scenario, completely different outcomes. The dichotomy of control is central to this mindset. Some events are beyond your influence, but your responses, decisions, and mindset are entirely within your power. By concentrating energy on what you can change, you cultivate resilience, reduce anxiety, and increase effectiveness. This is not passive optimism, it's active preparation, discipline, and mental training. Each challenge becomes a practice session for your inner strength. The warrior mindset also encourages consistent reflection and adaptation. You analyze failures without self-punishment, celebrate progress without arrogance, and treat each day as an opportunity to execute purposeful action. Over time, this approach rewires your brain, turning overthinking into strategic problem solving. Adopting a warrior mindset doesn't eliminate hardship, but it transforms how you experience it. Life will still challenge you, but your response determines whether you remain stuck or rise stronger. Victims wait for life to change, warriors create change, proving that mastery of the mind leads to mastery of life itself. The Stoics practiced memento mori, a constant reminder that life is temporary and time is the most valuable resource you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Far from morbid, this perspective is profoundly practical. It sharpens focus, reduces overthinking, and inspires action. When we realize that tomorrow is never guaranteed, small anxieties and hypothetical worries lose their power. Instead of wasting mental energy on what-ifs, you prioritize what truly matters: meaningful work, relationships, personal growth, and daily discipline. Modern high performers, from entrepreneurs to athletes, consciously apply this principle. They create time-blocking routines, set intentional goals, and eliminate distractions, knowing that every wasted moment is lost forever. Overthinking is neutralized when your mind is anchored in the present and guided by purpose. Memento mori also encourages reflection. At the start of each day, consider what's truly important, and at the end, review what you accomplished, what you learned, and how you can improve. This habit transforms scattered thoughts into clear priorities. It's not just about productivity, it's about emotional clarity. Anxiety often comes from worrying about outcomes far in the future, but memento mori reminds you that the only time you truly have is now. Embracing this mindset shifts your perception of challenges. Failures are temporary, opportunities are urgent, and life's brevity inspires bold, decisive action. For example, a professional stuck in indecision may finally take the leap to start a business, invest in personal development, or express feelings to loved ones, because they recognize that overthinking consumes time they'll never get back. Memento mori isn't fear of death, it's a call to live fully, with purpose, clarity, and courage. Negative visualization is one of the most powerful mental tools the Stoics use to prepare for life's uncertainties. Rather than avoiding fear or uncomfortable thoughts, they intentionally imagine challenges before they happen. This practice trains the mind to face adversity without being overwhelmed. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca both recommended setting aside time, often in the morning, to consider potential losses: a job, a relationship, health, or status. The purpose is not pessimism, it is preparation, mental resilience, and appreciation. Imagine waking up and mentally experiencing the loss of something you take for granted. At first, the thought triggers discomfort, even sadness. But as you observe your reaction, you develop clarity, you see which aspects are controllable, which are not, and how you might respond effectively. This practice also increases gratitude. Simple things, a stable job, supportive relationships, health, become more valuable when you confront the possibility of losing them. Modern psychology echoes the same principle. Visualization exercises help athletes, military personnel, and entrepreneurs reduce stress and improve performance under pressure. For instance, Navy SEALs mentally rehearse challenging scenarios to condition themselves for extreme uncertainty. Entrepreneurs use scenario planning to anticipate market shifts, funding challenges, or operational failures. Negative visualization builds the same cognitive resilience for daily life. It allows you to act decisively when real adversity occurs because you have already confronted the fear mentally. Overthinking often occurs because we fear the unknown, imagine worst-case outcomes, and feel paralyzed. By proactively imagining hardship, you neutralize this fear, replace it with preparedness, and regain control of your thoughts. The mind, once trained, stops being a source of anxiety and becomes a strategic ally. This exercise also strengthens patience, perspective, and rational decision-making. Challenges are no longer unexpected disasters, they are opportunities to test your skills, learn, and grow. Ultimately, negative visualization empowers you to face life confidently, reduce mental clutter, and act effectively under pressure. Amor fati, or the love of fate, is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It goes beyond acceptance, it is about embracing life fully, including its obstacles, setbacks, and unpredictability, as if you had chosen them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This mindset transforms challenges into opportunities for personal growth. Imagine losing a job. Instead of seeing it as unfair or catastrophic, Amor fati encourages you to view it as a push toward a new skill, career pivot, or meaningful opportunity. Heartbreak becomes a chance for self-discovery, improved emotional intelligence, and readiness for a healthier relationship. The event itself is neutral, the value emerges from your response. Modern startups illustrate this perfectly. Founders face repeated failures, rejections, and market shifts. Those who practice Amor fati embrace these setbacks, analyze lessons, iterate, and ultimately succeed. Those who resist or complain remain stuck. Amor fati teaches that control lies not in external events, but in your mindset and choices. By reframing challenges as training, every obstacle becomes fuel for growth. It also reduces overthinking. When you trust that setbacks are not random misfortune but essential parts of your journey, anxiety diminishes, clarity increases, and decision-making improves. Practically, this involves conscious reflection when difficulties arise. Ask, "How can I use this situation?" instead of, "Why me?" Incorporating Amor fati daily fosters resilience, adaptability, and optimism without naive positivity. Life's hardships remain real, but they no longer paralyze you. Instead, they sharpen focus, deepen understanding, and accelerate personal development. This mindset empowers action, reduces mental clutter, and transforms overthinking into strategic problem-solving. Journaling is the practical bridge between Stoic philosophy and actionable mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius' meditations were not meant for an audience, they were tools for organizing thoughts, silencing the inner critic, and reflecting on what truly mattered. Overthinking thrives in a cluttered mind, where worries, fears, and hypotheticals swirl endlessly. Writing these thoughts down externalizes them, allowing you to examine them logically. Studies show journaling reduces stress, improves emotional processing, and enhances problem-solving skills. In high-performance contexts, athletes, Navy SEALs, entrepreneurs, journaling is used to prepare for challenges, focus priorities, and build mental toughness. A simple daily practice can be transformative. In the morning, write one thing in your control and one positive intention. At night, reflect on lessons learned, challenges faced, and how you responded. Challenge negative thoughts by asking, "Is this true? Is this useful? What would a Stoic say?" For example, worrying about finances becomes manageable when you focus on actionable habits, saving, investing, learning, and avoiding unnecessary debt. Journaling trains the mind to prioritize what is controllable, fostering calm, clarity, and decisive action. Ultimately, the combination of Stoic principles, controlling the mind, historical perspective, rational thought, warrior mindset, memento mori, negative visualization, amor fati, along with consistent journaling, equips you to stop overthinking, face challenges confidently, and live with purpose. Your mind, once disciplined, becomes your greatest ally. Every thought is a choice, every obstacle a lesson, and every day an opportunity to act intentionally. By internalizing these practices, you reclaim control over your mental landscape, transforming anxiety into action, doubt into confidence, and chaos into clarity. Stop overthinking. Start mastering your mind. Start living deliberately.